Hello viewers. First of all, a happy new year to all of you. I hope you've had a great holiday. I sure know I did. This video was a little delayed by that, but hopefully from now on I should keep a semi-consistent upload schedule. Without further ado, welcome to my first Black White 2 Nuzlocke. The usual Nuzlock rules are on screen right now. So let's discuss the type restriction. Basically, think of this as playing with a dupes clause, but for each type. For instance, if I already have a normal type, I can't catch another normal type. For Pokemon that gain or change type on evolution, I only count their current type. So if I had a Riolu, and then say caught a Steelix, I'd no longer be allowed to evolve that Riolu per my rules. With that explained, I'll also mention that I use cheats for these specific things, as for the most part, they're just time-consuming busy work that takes most of the fun out of Pokemon. I will also be cheating the challenge mode, so that the game will be a bit more, well, challenging. Finally, this is my first Black White 2 Nuzlocke, and the second time I've played through this game. The last time was 4 to 5 years ago, so I don't really remember much of this game at all. Therefore, to try and keep some of the mystery of a first time playthrough, I won't be looking up an opponent's team, unless I've had a previous run that's already gotten up to that trainer. As of writing this, the video is shaping up to be incredibly long, so you might want to consider getting a snack and or drink now. Just a fair warning. With no further preamble, let's get into the runs. I named the rival 1 type, as monotype wouldn't quite fit, and those runs are the true enemy of this one. Partly as I think almost every type and game combination has been done before, but mostly though, I'm hoping this will be a different and more interesting way of nuzlocking Pokemon games in the future, especially if it's a first time playthrough. I get to pick my starter, and it's a hard choice. While probably the best, the Tepig line uses up 2 really strong types in Fire and Fighting. A lot of the really strong Pokemon in Unova are fighting, so I want to keep this type open. This leaves me with a choice between Snivy and Oshawott. I have a Pokemon in mind for the water type, it's one I've used before in my Ice Monolock. You might be able to guess which one. That leaves me with Snivy, which is a good pick. Grass is generally quite weak, so using up that type with the starter, which are almost always good, should be a really good thing for this run. I just barely beat the first rival fight, and then as we're leaving Aspertia, we get the catch tutorial. From then on, I'm free to play the game as I like. Is that one of the shortest tutorials in Pokemon? It's really nice not having to backtrack for a change. As I have Pokeballs, it's time for our first encounter, and the first of many mistakes you'll see. I find a Patrat, and I decide you can do better than that for a normal type. Lillipup is definitely a lot better, it's just much harder to find. But the real issue from not catching Patrat is that I've used up an encounter, and there's only 3 before the first gym. Plus you'll never guess what the second encounter is. Sunk Cost Fallacy kicks in, and yet again I don't catch it. I do get rewarded with the third and final encounter though. It's also a Patrat. Well, I guess we're stuck with you then. I managed to quite comfortably get past the first 2 gym trainers, but well, Charon is a bit of an issue. As an aside, just ignore the level cap right now. I was accidentally using the non-challenge mode levels. This does come up as well, as I thought that I couldn't use Snivy for this first fight, until I realised his Pokemon were also level 14. Anyway, Charon has workup and healing. While we can just about deal with his Patrat, we have no chance against his Lillipup. That's a wrap for the first attempt. The major takeaway from it is just catch the damn Patrat. I can't beat Charon with only 2 Pokemon. The second attempt is also the last one with the wrong level caps in Team UI. For the second attempt I managed to catch a Purloin, then I find a Pidove, and while I know I need more Pokemon, Flying is a very strong type that I don't want to use on arguably the worst regional bird. Ergo, I skip catching a Pokemon for Route 20. For our third and final encounter before Charon, I go to Flossy Ranch and I get a Lillipup. Let's go. That's a really strong normal type, But will it be enough for us to deal with Charon? No. There's not really much that we can do with this team. I do have setup with growths on Snivy, but even at +6, we don't one-shot all of Charon's Pokemon, and to actually be able to set it up, we need to spam Growl so Snivy doesn't just faint setting up. That leads to sacrificing Purloin by spamming Growls, until she gets hit with a crit, which takes her out. Charon also likes to spam Workup, which means our Growls don't get Power Out to -6. Still, I try setting up with Snivy, but end up losing most of its HP. I do just manage to get the KO on Patrat, but even with the setup from Growth, Snivy can't take out Lillipup. Finally, our own Lillipup barely manages to take out Charon's, leaving it in a 1v1 with Pidove. We even land a crit with the Frustration, but Pidove just barely survives and then takes us out next turn. Honestly, it's closer than I expected, and maybe if I'd actually been at the level cap, we might have won with that crit. Ah well. Hopefully we've learned enough to beat the first gym leader. Third time's the charm, right? This run, I catch a Patrat, Purloin, and Psyduck to deal with Charon. We still kinda lack any good enabler for Snivy to set up, but Psyduck is pretty good, so we might be alright dealing with Charon. Speaking of Psyduck, anyone else think Golduck and Psyduck's names the wrong way round? Or that's just me? We're probably going to struggle with Charon, as we go into one of his gym trainers under level, and accidentally lose our Patrat because of that. The Charon fight itself is close again. Psyduck proves to be a pretty good Pokemon, but a crit from Pidove means that we can't quite win the fight this time. Okay. Surely we can beat the first gym leader of the game. This is beginning to feel like a joke, and I'm the punchline. Let's just beat Charon. This time round we catch a Patrat, a Purloin, and a Mareep. The little electric sheep is a breakthrough for this run. It has access to Growl and Thunder Wave. This lets us get Charon's Patrat all the way down to -6 attack, thanks to the paralysis. This makes the setup with Snivy quite a lot easier, as a few paralysis turns keep our HP quite high. Or it would've, if it wasn't for a crit from his Patrat. Due to that pretty unlucky hit, Snivy isn't going to survive the fight. It does manage to take out Patrat, and does enough damage to Lillipup to get rid of its berry. From here, I swap out to Purloin to use enough Growls to make Lillipup manageable. Purloin gets low, but she's done her job. I swap out to Mareep, then spam Thundershock until I win. We beat Black White 2's first gym leader. Let's go. Although let's not get too excited, there is another 7 to go. On the way to Verbank, we fight a double battle against two of the best Pokemon of all time. We just barely managed to win this epic battle, which gives Mareep enough XP to evolve into Flaffy. At Verbank City, we can get another catch encounter. I pick up a Growler for the team. That's a pretty great fire type, although it's a pity we didn't get Intimidate. For Roxy, we lead with our Flaffy. She quite easily lets us take out Coughing, and gets a paralysis on the Grimer. Then it's out to Purloin, to do I'm not really sure what. I get a Growl and a Tormentor, but Roxy only really seems to use Venoshock, which is a special attack, and Torment doesn't really do too much. After wasting most of Purloin's HP, I swap back to Flaffy and eat a crit Mud Slap. That did way too much damage, so it's time to swap again. Purloin comes back out to get in another Growl for reasons, before I swap to Patrat. I set up 2 workups, then take out Grimer with Return. Up last for Roxy, it's Whirlipede. I decide to try for the Hypnosis auto win with Patrat, but we miss, and a Venoshock leaves us really low. So I swap out to Growlithe, and the bug typing of Whirlipede lets us pretty easily take it out with a few Flame Wheels. We beat 2 gym leaders this run. That's a new record for me. Can I keep this momentum going though? I also just want to take some time here, while we're at the Pokestar Studios, to just point out how cool all this side stuff is in Gen 5. While I won't be doing much of it in this run, it really feels like a ton of effort was put into this gen of Pokemon, just on the sheer amount of side content you have. It'd be really cool to do a more casual playthrough of this gen sometime in the future. Maybe something for a Twitch stream later. which if you didn't know, is currently my 1000 sub goal. If I can get to that number, I will start streaming these runs live. So if you're liking the video so far, please consider subscribing. Anyway, with Roxy defeated, we can move on to Castelia, where we evolve Patrat into Watchog, get a new Pokemon Trubbish, who of course is named UK. Then we move on to the sewers, pick up leftovers, and also steal a black sludge from a Grimer. That's really huge for the run. We basically now have 2 leftovers, which should hopefully carry some of our upcoming fights. We reach Berg, and as we're at the gym leader, I level everyone up to the level cap with rare candies. Then, get into the fight. I lead with Growlithe, expecting this to be an easy sweep, as it's fire versus bug. However, he immediately ruins that plan by starting with Dwebble. Its part rock typing is really scary, and I don't want to lose Growlithe to some random crits. So, I swap to Flaffy, and I get in 5 Growls, which should make every Pokemon safe against his Dwebble. The plan from here is to get a Hypnosis with Watchog, and then set up a Pokemon. It takes 3 turns, but we finally hit the sleep move. Then I swap out to Leopard, get 3 Hone Claws up. I then begin to attack him with Return, but of course he has a berry, so we just can't 2-shot Dwebble. And after 2 Struggle Bugs, I'm really scared of a crit, so I swap out to Trubbish. I set up a stockpile, and between the Race Defense and Black Sludge, Trubbish is basically immune to damage. Slowly but surely, I sweep Berg with Trubbish. Huh, and here I was expecting Growlithe to do everything. Well, he will get his chance to shine next fight. I pick up Eviolite and then head to the very first Colress fight. All I really remember from my first Black White 2 playthrough is that Colress uses Steel types, and gets this is hard. The first point of course is more useful, so I lead with Growlithe and a few fire moves later we beat Colress. Next gym, it's Salacer. She uses electric types, so I really want a ground type for this gym. So it's off to the desert resort for our next encounter, and we get really lucky. We get possibly one of the best Pokemon in the generation, Sandile. Unfortunately, I remember it's part dark, and we already have Leopard, so I can't catch Snappy. Next encounter though, I find a Sandshrew of all Pokemon. Pure ground type? Alright then. I've never even imagined I'd be using one in Nuzlocke, but here we are. Sandshrew doesn't stick around for long though. After I catch him, I level him up to my party's level, which causes him to evolve into Sandslash. We arrive in the next city, and there's a required double battle. These terrify me in Pokemon. I don't want to end up losing multiple team members, so I level everyone up to level 30, which makes the double battle tame. With it done, it's now time for the Electric Gym, which means it's Sandslash's time to shine. He takes down the first Emolga with ease, but then Joltik comes out and hits an Energy Ball, leaving Sandslash super low. No matter though, Dig hits, leaving Joltik with low red. I can be pretty sure a potion is coming this turn, so I swap to Growlithe. I hit a Flame Wheel, putting Joltik back on low red HP, but she hits a Thunder Wave. I don't want to deal with paralysis, and I've got enough Pokemon that I don't have to, so I swap out to Watchog, as Joltik Volt switches to Flaffy. From here, a Hypnosis into 2 workups lets Watchog take out Joltik and Flaffy with returns. Final Pokemon for Alacer, it's Zebstrika. I swap out into my Electric type, Ampharos. I just want to get in a Confusory, but I get denied by 4, count them, 4 back-to-back Stomp flinches. That is completely and utterly stupid. But on the last hit, Static procs, and we get the paralysis, I guess. As Ampharos is so low though, I have to switch. I go to Trubbish and set up 2 stockpiles. From here, I'm safe from any damage Zebstrika can do. A few turns later, I take out her Zebra with my Sentient Trash Bag. This run is going way better than I expected it would, up to this point. But next is Clay. Like I said earlier, I haven't played this game in ages, but I still remember Clay because of that Excadrill, and it's a really scary Pokemon, so I need to prep for him as best I can. First up, let's catch some new team members. First a Gothita, then a Nosepass. That's a real disappointment though on Nosepass. I really wanted to get a Clink or even a Roggenrola. Finally, I go to Relic Castle, catch a Yamask, and misspell Egypt. Sorry, Egyptians. We could also do with some extra firepower. Literally, as I get a Firestone to evolve Growlithe. Then after a little bit more story, I get offered a Zorua that I can't take. Thanks, Leopard! With all the catching and evolving done, it's now time for Clay. You know a gym is tough if the game warns you before you fight them. Well, let's give Clay our best shot. I hope I can just hypnosis his first Pokemon, then set up Watchog and sweep, but let's see what happens. I send out Watchog, and he sends out Krokorok. I get hit with Intimidate, and that kinda scares me. I want to set up physical attacks, so I have a look at all the other options I could go for, but eventually I decide to stick with the original plan. We get really lucky as he only goes for Sandstorm. Then it's time to have another look at my options here. I'm thinking whether I want to set up with Leopard or Watchog. Leopard is faster and hits harder, but it is very frail and it won't get stabbed. Eventually, I decide to keep sticking with Watchog. I get enough workups so I get to +2 attack, then hit return and take out his Krokorok. Next out, it's an Onix. That should be another freebie then. I mean, it has the same attack stat as a Wurmple. No, it really does. I hit him with a Crunch that does maybe half HP. He uses Rock Polish. Alright, one more turn we should be good. Onix goes first, and uses Explosion. Oh no. Watchog goes down. I begin to start panicking too. Excadrill is really scary, and I was hoping to at least get in a hit with Watchog. Well, I send out Cofrathragus as he sends out a Sandslash. After getting off a burn, Sandslash can barely hurt us, and it doesn't get a crit, so we slowly wear it down. Finally, Clay sends out his feared Excadrill. If I can just get a Will-O-Wisp on it though, we should at least be able to take some hits from it. Its first attack, it hits a crit Rock Slide, taking Cofrathragus to pretty low HP, but we do get the burn. Let's go. We should be able to tank another hit here, so long as he doesn't crit again. He of course though, gets another crit, which Cofrathragus somehow tanks. Okay then. I get off the scary face, and from here we should be pretty good to win. I swap out to Leopard to get a Fake Off in for some extra burn damage. Then I swap to Sandslash. With Cofrathragus so damaged, Sandslash is my next best physical tank, and it has a pretty good typing to take hits from Excadrill. Slowly, between burn and some attacks, we take out his Excadrill, without losing anyone despite it hitting 2 crits. To think I was scared of Excadrill, when I should have been scared of the big grey Wurmple. With Clay down, we go to the hideout sailing boat that Team Plasma have. I can't believe I just said that for a Pokemon game. It sounds like it more belongs in a James Bond film or something. What's next? Is it going to be able to fly? Shoot lasers? Speaking of fly, we need a Pokemon that can do that. So I go to the Driftvale drawbridge to pick up a Ducklet. As I only intend to use it for HM moves, I will not count this as my water or flying type, and I won't be using it in battles. So I'll name it something that reminds me of that. And hey, maybe the name has other implications too. I'll let you figure that one out though. After Ducklet's capture, we can start to get a few more encounters. Surf lets us get to Mr. Alton Cave, where a dragon type lives. This is a big decision for the run. This is a really good Pokemon. Haxorus is pretty fast and has a stupid attack stat. But then again, I was thinking about saving the dragon type for an Altaria. While Altaria is probably the worst overall Pokemon, especially with the 4x ice weakness, I really like its design and it's probably one of the better flying types left. Plus it kinda fits the whole lesser used Pokemon vibe my team currently has. However, there are a few other flying types left, and I already have another Pokemon that I'm planning to get. So I'll take this dragon type here. Welcome to the team, Axew. She won't be seeing much use though in the coming gym battles. It's time for Skylar. As far as I remember, and from the theme of her gym, I'm pretty sure we're up against flying types. So Ampharos should have this easily, right? Kinda? She leads Swoobat, we tank her incoming Psychic, then one-shot it with Volt Switch. That highlighted Ampharos' major problem though, it's just not quick enough. I swapped my consistently consistent Garbodor, as she sends out Sigilith. That's a horrible type matchup. I have to swap out. At least that's what I should have done. Who knew this, whatever the hell Sigilif is meant to look like looking thing, is psychic? Not me. Fortunately, I don't get too punished. Garbodor just barely hangs on as we dodge a crit. Okay, I learnt my lesson. Let's swap out here. I go to Confrontations as it's our best special defense Pokemon left, and a crit Ominous Wind later, we take out Sigilif. I'm a bit annoyed I haven't gotten a single Omni boost with this move yet, but oh well. Next out comes Swanna. It's a swan, so water flying, right? Should be an easy KO for Ampharos. Let's try and make that happen. First turn, I get a burn on Swanna, and it leaves Confrontations very low on HP. I'm scared of losing Confrontations, so I swap out to Ampharos. It's got decent special bulk and electric resists water, right? Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, here's a reminder that just because your move is super effective one way, it doesn't resist the other way. Though I really would have thought water wouldn't do much damage against electricity, but what do I know? Still, no need to worry. Confrontations is faster, surely Ampharos is too. Oh no. With that mistake, plus me forgetting to heal 20 HP onto Ampharos at the start, we lose our electric type for the run. That's a really tough loss. While not the best Pokemon, I really love Ampharos. In the present though, it's not just one tough loss. I'm staring down a Swanna with only a Sandslash or Arcanine to swap in. Eventually, I choose Arcanine. It's the faster of the two, and Swanna is kinda damaged, so I can hope that Extreme Speed is enough. I hit in, and Swanna survives in the red, then heals it with a berry. This is all going wrong. Surf is gonna be a one-shot here, surely. Well, maybe it would be, but we don't get to find out as for some reason she goes for Feather Dance. Okay, so we don't hit as hard physically now. But after burn damage, Swanna is low HP. Flame Burst might just save us. I click the move, and Swanna moves first. I actually thought we'd be faster. Well, I'm sorry Arcanine, you did well. To tank that Surf, we hit back with Flame Burst, and Swanna just barely survives. At the end of turn though, the burn damage is just enough to finish her off. Let's go. That was a really tough fight. We nearly lost 3 Pokemon, and we did lose our poor Ampharos, but it's over now, right? Skarmory swaps in. And the only good attack we have for this is Arcanine's Flame Burst. But Skarmory isn't known for its good attacking stats, so I really think we should risk it. Skarmory isn't a physical wall either, so we might even one-shot it. I attack, and Flame Burst takes Skarmory all the way to basically 1 HP. It responds with an Aerial Ace taking out Arcanine. From here, Sandslash will guarantee the fight, but at what cost? In one battle, we've lost some of the best types in Pokemon. Still, we have 2 replacements, and while maybe not as loved as the last 2, they're still great Pokemon in their own right. We level them up to the party's level, and we also evolve both of them. The level cap is raised to 52 now. If Fraxure can get there, we'll have a Haxorus. Speaking of new Pokemon for the team, I reach Undella Town. Here I want to catch someone we've used before, Cloyster. It's why I've been trying to keep water and ice free in these runs. And while we can't get an egg move for it, Skill Link Ice Core Spear with Shell Smash to set up is an absolutely insane Pokemon. I can't wait for Cloyster to redeem itself in this run. At least that would be the case, but to get one, I need to do fishing. Well, that's no problem. I must have missed the fishing rod. Where do you get it in Black 2 again? Sorry, when do you get it in Black 2? After beating the champion? Are you insane? Has there ever been another Pokemon game where you have to wait until post-game to fish? That puts a massive hole in my plans too. I was really looking forward to seeing Cloyster, especially after using it in Soul Silver. I was honestly considering cheating in a Shelter at this point, as for some reason it still counts as a Unova Dex Pokemon. However, it almost certainly would break the game, and remove a lot of challenge left in the run. That is just how broken Cloyster is in this gen. Maybe I'll solo run Unova as a one-off to show off Cloyster. Anyway, speaking of challenge, there is plenty left in the game. Part of that immediately pops up, as I didn't know there was a rival fight here. My lack of knowledge could really hurt me here. I've gone into the fight with Confrontations on only 50 HP. My main tank is really damaged, but I'm pretty sure his lead Umphazon is a physical attacker, so if I can just get off a burn, we should be okay. First turn, the AI hard outplays me with a taunt. Okay, so we have to swap now. I go up to Sandslash and get a Sword Stance up, then take out Umphazon with a single Rock Slide. He sends out Simipour. It's got a type advantage on me, so I go up to Garbodor, who can barely take 2 Scalds, so long as he doesn't get a burn. Yep, of course he does. Garbodor can't do too much damage now. Guess my next best special tank is Gothitelle? So I swap out. Scald hits and again maybe does half HP. These monkey Pokemon are way stronger than I remember. I'm beginning to run out of options, especially as I don't want to risk Fracture yet, and Subscribble can't be used. I try for the Psychic anyway, and not only does Simipour outspeed, it lands a crit, guaranteeing Gothitelle's death. Well, I got the free switch at least, but what can I even do at this point? I guess Confrontations? Maybe we can slow it down? We do just about tank 1 Scald. Thankfully we dodge a burn, but we're only on 22 HP now, so we can't stay in. I'm really worried about this fight now. Fracture does resist water and has Dragon Dance, but if it gets burnt we won't be doing any damage, and 2 Scalds might just KO us anyway. So I decide here I'm gonna have to sacrifice Sandslash as well. It'll let me get the free switch to Fracture, which might just let us beat this battle. In hindsight, maybe I should have swapped to Fracture before when Gothitelle fainted, but I still really didn't want to risk it. With Fracture, we get off 1 Dragon Dance, and for some reason, the AI decides to take pity on us. Instead of attacking, he just stares menacingly at us. So I Dragon Dance again, and again he just tries to stare us down. Thanks to that 2-turn reprieve, I'm almost certain that Fracture can take this fight. A few more turns later, we win the fight. We've lost a lot of Pokemon at this point, and only have a few types left. After checking all the remaining Steel types I can get, it's either Skarmory or Evolve our Nosepass from earlier. Flying maybe still has some better Pokemon available, so let's welcome Probopass to the team. And in his very first trainer battle, it's time to say goodbye to him. He gets met by a 4 times effective high jump kick. In hindsight, that was probably the worst play I've made in any of the runs. Well, it's okay guys, I can replace him with a Pelipper. Okay. I know I said there were better flying types than Skarmory, and maybe Pelipper isn't that. While that is true for flying type, it's not as clear cut for water type. There really aren't that many good and easy to get options left, especially with this game not having Gyarados in it. Out of the remaining good water types, they either have a type I've already used, or I just can't get them. I was considering Vaporeon, but I'm not allowed to pick up an Eevee because I've already used my normal type. Anyway, Pelipper isn't the worst Pokemon ever. While mine doesn't have Drizzle, it does have access to Roost, which is one of the best single player Pokemon moves. Hey, Pelipper even beats this Plasma Double battle. See? He's not completely useless. After that double battle, we open up the next route, and get one of the absolute best possible Pokemon left. It's Mienshao. It's super fast and hits pretty damn hard, has great coverage, and even a little bit of recovery with Drain Punch. Hopefully she'll keep this team together as we go forwards to possibly the worst gym in Unova. I do just want to take this time to say as well, this Nuzlocke, at least blind, is hard. Usually by this point in a run, being on level with the previous gym means all the route trainers are 5 levels below you and basically not a threat. But that isn't so in Black White 2. I don't know if this is a challenge mode thing only, but every route trainer is at least on level with me, if not higher. That's not to say that the routes are necessarily hard, but they're certainly still challenging. This just gets worse in the Dragon Gym. Every gym trainer is over my level and using the still extremely overpowered Dragon type. Combine that with me being super scared of using Fracture and Mienshao in these fights. I want to be able to evolve both of them, which means I need to get to the gym leader first. That means beating Dragon types with only a Pelipper, Leopard, Garbodor, and Confrontations. It is kind of manageable when it's a single battle. Confrontations does have enough defense to 1v1 most dragons quite well, but when I try using Garbodor in the same way, things don't go quite so well. Not only that, but this trainer has Swagger, which forces me to swap out Confrontations, so I go up to Pelipper, and it can't take 2 hits. I keep roosting, but eventually they get a crit which takes him out as well. Confrontations is too low, so I go up to Leopard, which dies in a single Dragon Claw. Finally, with the free swap and no options left, I have to go to Fracture, and after a Dragon Dance, a crit Dragon Claw saves us from this fight. In one fell swoop, we're left with just 3 Pokemon. They're good ones, but we still have a lot of the tough battles left, and again, they're just 3 Pokemon. Even if those 3 pull off a miracle and win most of the upcoming battles, XP is starting to become a real concern. We have at least one saving grace though. After just about struggling past the triple battle in the Dragon Gym, we get to the Gym Leader, which lets us level up our Pokemon to the level cap. This means our Fracture and Mienshao evolve. We have a Haxorus now. That almost certainly can take down most of the upcoming fights. Dragon Dance, with its attack and speed, is insane. But I must be careful not to over-rely on Haxorus, or else I will end up over-leveling it and almost certainly losing. First though, we still have to get past the Dragon Gym. But well, let's just show you guys how insane Haxorus is. We get off 2 Dragon Dances, and that's the fight pretty much. A few turns later, and Drayden's team is history. After Drayden, it's time for Marlon. Although before that, Team Plasma's ship starts firing lasers and can fly. Of course it can. Well, from here, being entirely honest, the run is probably going to be a little bit boring. Every major fight is just going to be Haxorus Dragon Dancing and then sweeping. The only danger, again, is overleveling it. For the final Gym Leader Marlon, it's an easy sweep with Haxorus. Okay then, time for Chorus. And thanks to Haxorus having Mold Breaker, we can ignore Chorus's sturdy Pokemon, making it a mostly easy fight. However, his Klinklang has a balloon, so we need to use Rock Slide before we can bulldoze it. Which means Klinklang does get a turn to set up. I hit him with my first bulldoze, and Klinklang survives it. It then sets up one more time. Well, what's the worst it could do? Chorus hits a Giga Impact, taking Haxorus all the way down to 46 HP. A crit might have just lost the run here. I had no idea it had that. Thankfully though, we got lucky and dodged the crit. After we beat Klinklang, Metang comes out. I'm pretty sure that Metang gets that Steel Quick Attack move. Bullet Punch, I think? So I can't really risk staying in with Haxorus. I swap out to Confrontations, and we get hit by a crit Meteor Mash. Oh well, we still tanked that well. Let's get a burn off to cripple Metang. It hits in with yet another back-to-back crit Meteor Mash, taking Confrontations all the way down to just 9 HP. What the hell is that look, Chorus? Thankfully, we don't miss Will-O-Wisp. With the burn dropping its attack stat, Metang is mostly harmless, so I swap out to Mienfoo. And he hits another crit Meteor Mash that also raises his attack. I'm lost for words, what is this luck? After a few more turns though, we take out Metang with a few Drain Punches. Finally, Chorus sends out Behem, or however you meant to say that. I don't want to stay in against this Psychic type, so I bug out using U-Turn, which just so happens to KO it anyway, winning the Chorus fight. Well, that got too close for comfort. Nearly losing Haxorus, then 3 back-to-back crits. I'm just glad I made it through this fight without any deaths though. After Chorus, comes Getsis. I remember this one being extremely annoying. But first, I find our second to last team member for this run. The pure Ice type, Vanillish, which I rare candy up to my team's level, so it evolves into a Vanillux. We proceed forward and watch as Getsis uses Polymerization to fuse his Kyroom and a Zekrom. That creates a really scary Pokemon. It has one of the largest attack stats in all of Pokemon, and for the Getsis fight, I want to lead with Haxorus to set up for a sweep. That's the problem, because if I remember right, you're not allowed to swap between these two fights, and I'm kinda scared of Pokemon Black getting a single hit on my Haxorus. I've got no other choice, so I've got to risk it. I hit him with Dragon Claw, and turns out I was worrying for nothing. We take it out in a single hit. With Kyurem down, we move on to Ghetsis. I lead with Haxorus, and remembering he has a Cofraphragus, I've taught it Shadow Claw. I'm able to get up a Dragon Dance, but I get hit by a Toxic. I then go on to sweep his first 4 Pokemon, but I have to swap out as the Toxic damage is 1 turn away from taking out Haxorus. Next out is Electros. I swap out into Vanillish, and next turn I hit an Ice Beam that does way more than I expected. I'm honestly impressed by Vanillish here. Electros then hits me with a Flamethrower. I also wasn't expecting that. But thankfully our Ice Cream Cone is surprisingly tanky, and survives the hit easily. I outspeed and finish off Electros. Time for Ghetsis' final Pokemon. He sends out Toxicroak. So I go up to Cofraphragus. On the swap, we dodge a Brick Break thanks to our Ghost typing. Now, just get a burn off, and Toxicroak will be free. I hit the burn as he tries to get a Sucker Punch. This is going great. A few more attacks and we'll win this. I hit him with an Ominous Wind as he hits a Shadow Ball? It gets a special defense drop too. I'm not 100% sure that I can take out Toxicroak here, and a crit Shadow Ball after the defense drop? I'm not gonna risk it. I swap out to Mienshao, and the Shadow Ball doesn't crit, but it did defense drop again, so I'm still glad I swapped. Mienshao then ends the battle with a Drain Punch. We beat Ghetsis with no losses. I'll be honest, I was not expecting that coming into this. With Ghetsis out of the way, it's time for the final stretch of Unova. However, there is something we're missing. A bug type. Unova is full of some really fantastic bug Pokemon. I'd even argue this is a gen where they stop being complete jokes. However, we can't get any of them. They're either dual typed with something we've already used, or require traits to evolve. So I just go and pick up a Shelmet, and I level it up to my team's level, but a little bit lower, so that hopefully I can put a lot of the coming battles XP on it. But being honest, I don't expect that Shelmet will make it to the league. Can I beat Victory Road? Yes, it's a question that needs asking. Remember how I was having trouble with earlier Roots trainers? It's exactly the same for every single Victory Road trainer. I have to go back and heal after every single battle. Also, just look how close any random battle can be. This is only the second trainer in Victory Road, and while I definitely didn't play this fight perfectly, we ended up losing our new Shelmet, and very nearly lost Vanillux and Cofraphragus. As we continue to make our way through Victory Road, at one of the last trainers, I make a really bad mistake. Did you know that Fra has guts? I didn't, so I ended up burning one, which cost Vanillux its life. 2 losses managed to get us to the end of Victory Road, so now it's time for the Elite Four, right? Not just yet. In typical Pokemon fashion, we've got to beat the rival first. This might be a tough one. I lead Cofraphragus into his Umphazzant. Aside from Will-O-Wisp burning it, I can't hurt it. It immediately goes for Confusion on Cofraphragus, and I can't swap out to clear it. I can't go to Haxorus, as if I use it this fight it will certainly overlevel, and I can't swap to Mienshao as I don't want to swap it into a flying attack. Therefore, I stay in and keep going for a Will-O-Wisp. I do finally end up getting it, but again, I still don't want to swap out from Cofraphragus. A random crit into Mienshao might just kill it, so I stay in, and it's time to sacrifice Cofraphragus. Probably the Pokemon that was with us the longest this run. With its death though, I can swap out for free, so I go to Mienshao. We've got to take down 4 Pokemon with her. She's also at the point where a single level up makes her unusable for the Elite Four, but I honestly believe Haxorus might have a chance beating the whole league by itself. First turn, and thanks to the burn chip damage, our first Drain Punch takes down his Masked Pigeon. Second out, it's a Tauros clone. Hopefully it's just pure normal, so a Drain Punch should be good here, right? I hit in, and it survives on the tiniest amount of HP. It hits me with a Head Charge, which does a lot, but it does take itself out. Next up, it's Simipour. I hit him with a Drain Punch, and it doesn't KO. The next one will though, so as long as I can tank this next hit, Mienshao faints. Oh no. Well, maybe I took out enough that Haxorus won't overlevel? I get up a Dragon Dance, then take down Simipour. It's maybe looking okay actually. That's a pretty decent chunk of XP still needed. The rival sends out his last Pokemon, Emboar. I take it out, and it gives a little over 4k XP, which is more than enough to level up Haxorus, and despite it never fainting in a battle, I'm no longer able to use it in this run. Which means, I've lost this run, right at the Pokemon League. That's incredibly frustrating, but we're going again. I'm not giving up after getting this close to a win. I will however change a few things about the next run, and how I show it. I'm conscious that this video is already quite long, and we've got to go through the whole game again, so I'll only show the highlights. As for the run itself, I got all the way to Elite Four in the last one. I'll be checking every trainer's team and moves before fights if I feel like I need to. Finally, I'm going to be a little more creative with my type blocking rule. Let's try and aim for some of the best Pokemon that Unova has. No more Purloins for starters. Start of Attempt 5, I pick up a Snivy, Patrat, and a Mareep. Using these three, we're just about able to beat Charon the same way we did last time. However, bonus, Snivy lived this time. That could be huge for the run. The starters are always fantastic Pokemon. After Charon comes Roxy. But first, we get our Verbank Complex encounter. A Magby. That's a great fire type, even without evolving. I used it in my baby-only Nuzlocke, which was a great challenge you should check out if you haven't. Anyway, in that, Magby soloed quite a few important fights. I'm really looking forward to having a Magmar. That would be the case if I didn't accidentally run away. Okay, I was getting a bit scared of a crit taking out Snivy and might have misclicked run instead of swapping out. Therefore, I've lost my encounter for this area, and that really sucks as Growlithe was key for dealing with Roxy. Still though, we should be okay. Unova still has some fantastic fire types later. Roxy mostly uses Venoshock and tries to give you poison, so I'll give everyone a Pecha Berry and use Charge plus Thunder Shock on Flaffy. The charges will give me special defense ups, so I should be able to quite easily tank her Venoshocks. Let's go. I lead with Patrat. I'd love to get a Hypnosis to start to get a few free turns with Flaffy, so I try once and I miss. Patrat takes quite a bit of damage, but I can take one more hit before I need to swap out. So I try Hypnosis again. It misses again. Okay, maybe I'll swap out Patrat then. She tried her best. The decision then gets taken away from me by crit Venoshock. That sucks. Watchog was really good last run, better than I expected, but ah well. We still have two great Pokemon. I send out Flaffy, and using Charge Thundershock, I'm able to beat her Coughing quite handily. Then just barely beat her Grimer too. Only barely, as yet again Roxy gets a crit, which means all my special defense boosts get ignored. Finally her Whirlipede comes out. This isn't good. Flaffy is only 2 HP, and Whirlipede has a quad resist on Grass type. I guess I've got to get a Paralysis with Flaffy? Oh, it outspeeds me. It takes me out with a Rollout. From here, we just straight up lose. Servine just can't do any damage to Whirlipede, while we get flattened by a few turns of Rollout. You know what they say though? 6 times the charm, right? I'm going to abuse my rules even harder this time though. I pick Oshawott as my starter. Why the change? Well, 1, I realise I can't get close to later on, which is what I was aiming for. And 2, picking Oshawott here means I can't catch a Psyduck at Flossy Ranch. Which is relevant, because the only other types left are Electric, Normal, and Fighting. If I catch a Patrat in one of the 2 prior routes, then I can only get a Mareep 2/3 of the time, or 1/3 of the time, and on this attempt, I can catch a Riolu here. Riolu this early on in a run is insane. Okay, well maybe not so much Riolu, so much as it being a friendship evolution. That means with a little bit of running, a cheat program to max the friendship, seriously, who wants to run in circles for 2 hours? We're able to evolve our Riolu before we ever fight a gym leader. Not only is fighting great for Charon, but we also get Steel, which gives us a normal resist, even better for Charon, but also immunity to Roxy. This is going to be easy. Well, of course it is. Both Charon and Roxy are almost effortlessly swept by Lucario. We didn't even need to get the fire type before Roxy. That means we can save it for a truly busted Pokemon. We head to Castelia. From here, I'll really turbo through the game until we're back at the league. At Castelia, I catch a Zubat, and using it and Dewott, we're able to very easily get past Berg. His biggest threat for us was his Dwebble, hence why Dewott was so useful. After it's dealt with though, our newly evolved Golbat easily takes out the rest of his team. After Berg, I tried to catch a ground type for Alacer, but I find a Darumaka, which I don't want as I'm still holding out the fire type, and for the Desert Resort encounter, I find a Maractus, which is very meh. As I didn't find a ground type, Alacer doesn't end up being completely free. Although Lucario does now have Bone Rush, so it's not too hard either. In this fight though, I do end up losing Golbat. I had to keep it in as my other swaps were low HP or weak to electric, and Golbat would have probably survived most times, but it was hit by a crit, so it's gone. After Alacer, I'm able to add the Gift Zorua to our team. That's a huge addition, but it's not going to be the only one. I go and beat Clay, and turns out he's pretty easy when you have a fully evolved water starter. With him, and then the first team Plasma Boat encounter beaten, the game opens up quite a bit. I go through Relic Passage, and for our fire type this run, I'm going to catch Volcarona. It's an extremely long and tough battle. Volcarona is a really strong Pokemon, and it shows. Catching it takes nearly 5 minutes, plus it manages to take out my Watchog after trapping it with a Fire Spin. Still, I'll trade a Watchog for a Volcarona any day of the week. I also catch a Boldore, Axew, and Tynamo. With all my new team members caught, I get to just before Skylar. I level everyone up and end up evolving Tynamo to Electros. Using it, Skylar's first 2 Pokemon are pretty easy to beat. Then she sends out Sigilyph, which does put up a little bit of a fight, until I realise it's using Psychic. So Zoroark comes out, disguised as Subscribble. The AI never manages to figure it out, so Zoroark is easily able to take out Sigilyph. Finally, Skarmory is easy to deal with between my 4 remaining full health Pokemon. On my way to Drayden though, a huge disaster happens. On my way through Reversal Mountain with Bianca, my Fracture gets hit by a Flare Blitz, and then a Rock Slide that misses Bianca's Pokemon so it does full damage to mine, and gets a crit, meaning that Fracture is taken out from almost full HP in 1 turn. We're not going to have a Haxorus hard carry some of the later fights anymore. No Mold Breaker Sweeper means Sturdy will be far more annoying. The next rival fight, however, is at least easy, as Lucario now has Sword Stance, so after a little bit of setup we easily sweep his team. With him out of the way, it's time to prepare for Drayden. I go and catch a Gothita. Hopefully it can give a better account of itself this run than it did in the last one. I also go and catch a Banette, as Carfrathragus isn't available to this run due to getting Volcarona in the same location. In addition to the new captures, I also go and farm shards so that I can use the move tutor to get Iron Defense and Dragon Pulse onto my Lucario, who now hopefully should be able to deal with Drayden. Lucario is quite frail, but with Iron Defense and Steel Resisting Dragon, we should be able to tank a lot of damage. While on the other hand, Dragon Pulse and Lucario naturally learning Calm Mind should let us set up quite a bit and hit back really hard. Finally, for my Drayden preparation, I go and catch a Cottony. It's a prankster Pokemon, so we get Priority Charm and Leech Seed. Charm being the most important, as it's a reverse Sword Stance for the opponent, priority. It almost always goes first. That should allow us to make a lot of Pokemon much less scary, which makes it much easier to set up on them. Finally, it's time for Drayden and his gym trainers. They were a pain last time, and this time again they cause a casualty. We end up losing Boldore as we try and reach Drayden. One mob trainer between us and Drayden. This time, it's the Triple Battle trainer. And it's even worse. A crit Dragon Claw from their Fracture takes out Samurott, and a +2 attack Axew manages to one-shot Dragon Claw or Electros. That really hurt. This gym is absolutely terrifying. The gym trainers alone took out some of my best remaining Pokemon. Still, it's maybe not as bad as the last attempt we were here. We still have a full team of Pokemon at the very least, but a lot of our good attackers are gone now. We finally reached Drayden. I level everyone up, causing Gothita to evolve, then jump right in. The plan is just to set up Lucario and to use some of the other Pokemon to get me there. First I lead with Banette to get a Will-O-Wisp. Then I go up to Whimsicott to get off some charms that make it safe for Lucario to come in. Between the attack drops and the leftover recovery, Druddigon only does about 4 damage a turn. So I then proceed to set up Calm Minds and Iron Defenses. With all the stat ups, Lucario then goes on to one-shot all of Drayden's team with Dragon Pulses. That was easier than I was expecting, especially considering his gym trainers. After Drayden comes Marlon, but for the most part he's pretty easy to deal with again. This time I use a Gothitelle to take out his first 2 Pokemon with Energy Balls. Then I use Whimsicott to get a Leech Seed on Jellicent. Whimsicott takes a lot of damage in return and only survives due to the Leech Seed healing. But from here I'm able to swap out to Lucario, and thanks to the Leech Seed recovery and leftovers, I'm easily able to set up again and then sweep his team. Now it's time for the main part of the Team Plasma plot. On my way to their ship though, we've got 2 types still left open. Can anyone think of a really good Pokemon with those 2 types? That's right, we're going to catch a Mamoswine. Or at least a Piloswine will soon evolve into a Mamoswine. With that caught, that is every type used up. So let's get on to the Chorus fight. This is one I need to look up though. With the new level cap, Volcarona can finally learn Quiver Dance, which means it's great for sweeping. However, Chorus has a lot of Thunder Waves and Sturdies. These could ruin Volcarona's sweep, so I've got to have a Cherry Berry. And I need to get set up enough that I can use Fire Spin to KO them. While they will still get an attack off, we can at least take them out in 1 turn. I lead Volcarona, get 1 Quiver Dance off as we heal Paralysis. Next turn, I miss our first Fire Spin as we get paralyzed again. It's not looking too great, but we do have plus special defense, so we should be okay tanking a few hits. Next turn, Chorus goes for Volt Switch into his Metang. This time, I hit the Fire Spin, but it survives on really low red HP. This tells me I just need 1 more Quiver Dance, and then Fire Spin should be one-shotting everything. Chorus on his turn just 4 restores as we get in 1 more Quiver Dance. With the boost, despite being paralyzed, we're still faster than a lot of his Pokemon, so we take out Metang with 1 Fire Spin. Next up it's Magnezone. It hits a Flash Cannon for basically no damage as our Fire Spin connects and one-shots it. From here, the rest of Chorus's damage is special, so we easily tank it while we get pretty lucky with Paralysis, and take out most of his team with Fire Spins while avoiding Paralysis. The last scary part of the fight is its Kling Clang, especially when we miss our first Fire Spin and let him set up twice. This means he gets another chance to hit a Giga Impact, but this time he misses, which means nothing left can threaten Volcarona. After Chorus comes Getsis. I lead with Lucario, who can't get poisoned, which means his Cofrathragus is pretty much harmless. At first I tried to swap around to also get a Leech Seed, but after my first one misses, I quickly switch back to Lucario. With it, I proceed to set up 4 Calm Minds. Once I've got the boosts up, I'm able to just sweep through Getsis' entire team, especially as Lucario outspeeds everything. Well, that was way easier than I was expecting. Making our way to the Pokemon League is yet again challenging. This time we end up losing Whimsicott to a Swanna, and we also lose Gothitelle due to a crit Air Slash and poison damage. I could have really used both of those for the league, but we'll have to make do without. That leaves us with the last rival fight and then the Elite Four. For the rival, we nearly got into a bit of trouble, as he immediately U-turns out to a Simisear which can one-shot our Mamoswine. But by sacrificing Banette for a Thunder Wave, Mamoswine can come back out to finish off Simisear with an Earthquake. After that though, he sends out Superior, which Volcarona has a 4 times resistance to, so I send it out, set up a lot of Quiver Dances, then proceed to sweep his team. Although a Heat Wave miss nearly cost Volcarona's life. After that, it's time for the last 5 trainers. We only have 4 Pokemon left. First for the league though, it's Caitlyn. Time for a little bit of trolling, and to reference a fellow Brit, Pokemon Black 2 is a perfectly balanced game. You see, we lead with Zoroark, disguised as Lucario. The AI therefore wants to hit us with Psychics, which Zoroark is immune to. The AI, of course, being extremely well designed and able to deal with Zoroark, uses a Psychic attack again next turn, and the turn after that. Yeah, we cheese the entire fight as they try to use a type that cannot hurt us. Next up though, it's time for Marshall. I really should have saved this one last, as in hindsight he's by far the hardest of the league, at least specifically for this team. While Volcarona should resist fighting, almost all his Pokemon have Rock type coverage, which it's 4 times weak to. Meanwhile, everyone else in the team is just plain weak to fighting. The only real plus side we've got is we have a lot of Psychic on the team, which gives us super effective damage at the very least. First I lead with Lucario into his Throh. I go straight for Psychics, taking out his Throh in 2 turns, although we lose quite a bit of HP and 1 stage of speed. With Throh defeated, Mienshao comes out. It's pretty likely to go for the high jump kick here, so I go to Volcarona who should be able to tank it. We do, but it still does a little less than half HP. But now, I've got a bug type out. The AI will see the KO with bounce, so if I swap out now to Lucario, it's slower than Mienshao, so with Psychic we should get in a free hit, and hopefully the KO. Provided we dodge Paralysis. I swap out, Mienshao bounces. Next turn, it misses. Perfect. I hit Psychic, and it survives on 1 HP. That's a really unlucky damage roll, but hopefully he'll heal this turn and we'll just get a bit luckier. I hit again with Psychic, we get a better damage roll, and get the KO. Let's go. Next up for Marshall is Conkeldurr. It's slow, but hits really hard. I don't want to risk Volcarona, so I stay in and go for a Psychic. We do some great damage, leaving Conkeldurr in orange HP, but the incoming Hammer Arm takes out Lucario. That is a real shame, but it's better than a crit Hammer Arm just straight up killing Volcarona. Next turn, Volcarona comes out, outspeeds, and takes out Conkeldurr. Only 2 left to go. Marshall sends out Sork. It has a rock move, so again I have to swap out. After doing the calcs, Mamoswine can tank a hit so long as we don't get crit. So out to it we go. Sork misses, which is of course really lucky for us. We should be okay tanking anything it uses now. I go for an Earthquake. It'll be a 2-hit KO, so let's just not get crit. Marshall goes for payback with Sork instead of a fighting attack. Oh okay, he's just throwing then. Next turn, Earthquake takes out Sork. His final Pokemon is up now, it's a Lucario. But with it being weak to Earthquake and Mamoswine's huge attack stat, we hit in and easily one-shot Lucario. That didn't look too bad, but Marshall was definitely the hardest. A crit from him would probably have ended the run. His misses didn't necessarily matter, but we still had to play with exactly these swaps and predict what moves he'd be using most turns. It is really nice being able to look at the teams the AI uses, though it's still really fun to play through a run blind. With Marshall down, it's time for Chantel. But yet again, with Disguise, Zoroark fools her. She doesn't immediately break the Disguise, so she lets me get up 2 nasty plots for free. And then from there I take out almost her entire team. I get scared on her last Pokemon Banette as we're very low on HP, so I swap into Mamoswine. And an Earthquake later, we take it out. That was easy, just 1 trainer left now. And this is where I wished I kept Lucario. Grimsley, the Dark-type user, is the last member of the Elite Four. He leads Leopard while I lead Mamoswine. Leopard gets in some decent damage with a Fake Out, then a Night Slash. But as soon as we get a hit in with Earthquake, we one-shot Leopard. Next up, he sends out Scrafty. It's got a Rock move, so we can't swap out to Volcarona yet. So I stay in and try for an Earthquake again. First turn, we do loads of damage, and he only hits us with a Rock Tomb. We easily tank that hit. Okay then, let's finish off Scrafty. I go for 1 more Earthquake, as he hits a Brick Break. It does loads of damage, leaving our Mamoswine on only 2 HP. That's still 1 more HP than we need though, as our Earthquake lands, taking out Scrafty. Next up comes Crocodile, and you best believe we're swapping out here. I go to Zoroark because it has Rock Tomb as well. I hit in with a Dark Pulse and a Flamethrower, leaving Crocodile low, but not low enough, as it takes out Zoroark. It's really low HP now, so we can send out Volcarona in red HP. The AI usually goes for a heal, so I go for a Quiver Dance. This gives us enough of a boost that Silverwind can take out Crocodile, even without the crit we got. If you think we got lucky though, Grimsley's second to last Pokemon Bisharp comes out next. It gets a quick Claw proc and hits an Aerial Ace that does way over half HP to Volcarona. A crit there would have been game over. We got lucky though. A Flamethrower takes out Bisharp next turn. Finally, his Absol is taken out with a Silverwind. It's his last Pokemon, so of course it's the only point in any run that I get an Omni boost. Finally, all that's left is Iris. This is something I've already looked up and planned for though. She leads with a Hydreigon, which will almost certainly go for Surfs against my Volcarona. Quiver Dance gives us special defense up. so as long as she doesn't get a crit, we can get 3 back-to-back quiver dances guaranteed. 4 is even possible if she low rolls enough, but we don't need to risk that, as +3 special attack will one-shot most of her team. We get up the free boost without being crit. While it would have been nice to play around crits, we only had 2 Pokemon, so we just have to try our best here. Once we're set up, we just start attacking in. I hit Hydreigon with a Silver Wind, which gives us the Omni boost. Not that it even mattered though, as we still would have one-shot everything. A few turns later, and we're staring down her Haxorus. It survives a hit, though only on 1 HP thanks to a Focus Sash. The incoming Outrage takes out Volcarona. Well, it all comes down to, can Mamoswine tank 1 Outrage and get a return hit in? I had planned for Haxorus by giving Mamoswine Bulldoze, so that after we swap out and she heals, we'll outspeed and then get the KO with Ice Fang. But as she's using Outrage, she won't be healing this turn. She hits in, Mamoswine survives on 80 HP. Again, a crit would have been the end, but we got lucky. As she's only got 1 HP, our attack takes her out, winning us the run with just 1 Pokemon left. This was a really fun run. Not only was it extremely close, but I really felt like Challenge Mode is the bridge between the really hard realm hacks and regular Pokemon games. It was really nice for a change having a really tough challenge. Not only from some of the bosses, but just the random trainers on the routes were not hard, but you still had to think about them. I think over these runs, they took out as many Pokemon as the gym leaders and other boss fights did. All in all, this is a really fun way to play a Pokemon game, and I really recommend you try it if you've played a Nuzlocke before. One of each type really forces you to use some Pokemon you've never considered using before, while not type locking you and limiting a lot of the options you have and making the run overall a bit more boring in my opinion. I enjoyed this run so much, this is how I'm going to play through Pokemon games that are new to the channel in future. And as I've never played X and Y, Sun and Moon, or Sword and Shield, expect to see runs like these for those games over the coming year. Thank all you guys for staying for the full video. I really hope you enjoyed the run, and I apologise I haven't uploaded in so long. However, I've already got my next few runs all planned, and I'll try to keep at most 2 weeks between videos from now on. Still, if you want more in-depth updates on progress for my next video, please consider joining my Discord, where I try to give updates as I'm making the progress. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff. It's free, and really helps out by letting me know that people like these videos. Finally, I must say a big thank you to my patrons. You guys really help me continue on making these videos. I hope you, and everyone else watching, has a great rest of their day.